welcome everybody to the Magic Beans podcast. We are back again for episode number 118. I'm your host tonight, and my name is Shorty, and I've got a couple of beans on the line with me. So tonight we've got Cracker. How's it going, mate?
Very well, thanks, bud. How are you?
Pretty good. And Chewy's back again this week. How's it going, mate?
Yeah, very well. Had a week off, feeling fresh, so ready to talk about the fallout of the Alchemy Mythic Championship and really pumped to talk about everything Alchemy, right?
Yes.
Insert cricket sounds. Yeah.
Insert. That's not what you said 35 seconds ago.
I was listening to last week's cast, going like preach to you guys. So yeah, I probably didn't have too much to add onto what you were saying. I think you nailed it last week, and I think large swathes of the Magic community kind of agree with that. If you haven't listened to last week's episode, and you feel like shouting into the echo chamber, get onto it.
Yeah, it was a different podcast from our usual sort of vibe.
Did you feel better? Was it cathartic?
It was a little bit.
Yeah,
It's
nice.
one of those things where it's like, you do a bunch of complaining and then afterwards you're like, yeah, all my complaining makes no difference. So
there's a catharsis to us, right? And like, if we could complain about Alchemy again this week, and I missed last week, I'm back, this could be a cathartic reunion.
Ooh.
Wow. Things we didn't miss last week. Well, it's all right. We're not whinging all week this week. We've got other things to talk about.
There probably will be a little bit of whinging, but we'll talk about some
we
other...
are Magic players. Yeah.
There's other exciting things to talk about. So,
correct.
Before we get into any of that, we do have our awesome sponsors to shout out. So, Chewy, do you want to do the honours this week?
I would love to. I saw Pat. Yeah, I saw Pat in person, and which is always an absolute pleasure. The reason I missed last week's episode, I was visiting my mum, and Pat lives, very just down the road from mum, basically. So, but aside from being a good guy, Pat also runs Josh and Pat's MTG Bazaar, who are a Facebook auction page where they have nightly auctions for physical Magic cards. They also have some Win It Now posts where you can jump on. You have to be quick, first in, first serves. Super competitive prices, a lot of play sets. It is amazing. They have primo auctions on the weekends. They run regular giveaways, and they sponsor us, both our podcast and our tournament series. So would really love if you gave their Facebook page a follow, bid on some auctions, pick up some bargains, and when you do win, be sure to tell them that the beans sent you.
Very good. And while you were there visiting Pat, you walked away with a giant box full of more things to...
Oh, so much swag. I picked up some auction wins that I had because, petrol is, diesel's $2.20 a litre. Yeah. So I drove 450 Ks to go up there and picked up my cards and saved on $2 postage. So it was really efficient.
not even a litre.
Yeah, that's right. So, Pat gave us some stuff, and we gave away, some of the surplus Christmas boxes that he did, a couple of months ago, and we gave them away this week, which was pretty fun.
Yes. This week there was the biggest, hottest stream in Magic that anyone has ever seen, being you, Chewy, Ed Cracker, streaming some real-life, in-person,
high-level gameplay.
Paper, real-life, tabletop Magic. What was that?
How good was it, Cracker?
I mean,
how good was it?
It was unreal. It was so much fun. I had an absolute blast. Got to play Magic, got to just hang out with mates for an evening. Like, what else is there? That's why we play the game. And then just got to talk to chat a bunch as well and sort of fumble through some complicated decks I don't understand how to work.
Yeah, it was really good. If you don't follow us on Twitter, go to @MagicBeansCast, and there's a recent photo up there of the rig with a 4K camera, multiple GoPros, director Shorty just absolutely working his magic with scene changes and transitions. And Cracker and I just got to benefit from, all of Polywaffle's setup work, Shorty's work on OBS. And we just got to just talk Magic and sling some cardboard on stream. And it was hella fun and a little bit of a precursor to, I guess, some new content that the Beans will be putting up. And fingers crossed, hopefully, a bit of event coverage here and there. If anybody's out there, Wizards, hit us up. But yeah, it was super fun to do. It was interactive with chat. It was interactive with one another. We had to manually shuffle.
Took ages too.
I know, but
really
it turns
does.
out the in-person shuffler just as broken as the arena shuffler. Who'd have thought?
I had so many 7-land hands, man. Who knew that a deck that's
All the
half
mana weaving
lands-
you do.
yeah, right.
It was good fun. And if you missed the VOD or you missed the live stream, go back and check out the VOD on Twitch. We didn't really promote it. We weren't sure, we'd sort of put it in our calendars that we wanted to do it on Tuesday night, but we weren't 100% sure if things were going to work properly and how things were going to go, so we didn't sort of really promote it in advance. And still had some really good numbers on Twitch. People there just loving hanging out and watching some paper Magic. And the quality of the cameras that Polywaffles has got for us is top notch. So we're very little glare on the card sleeves, all the lights set up and that sort of thing. So, like Chewy said, it is a precursor to some things that we want to do going forward. So keep an eye out for more of that paper Magic content. And we'll be getting some Commander games going in the near future as well. So stay tuned for that, and keep an eye out for other improvements we put into the stream, and hopefully, like Chewy said, some tournament coverage if those opportunities come up. Once we've got everything all set up and done, we can jump into a store and do some coverage. So if you're running a store and you're running an event and you want something like that, hit us up. We'll see what we can do. So good fun. And it was interesting watching Cracker fumble his way through playing
Amulet Titan.
Amulet Titan.
Plenty of fumbling.
I was just counting backwards from 20 with Affinity, just trying to get him dead. I took the easy way out, just quietly. But I think I did go back and watch the VOD and, just try to pick up on my own misplays and such. But I think we played 9 games of Magic, Cracker, and you're 5-4 up, so you are winning. So, yep.
So do we need to keep like a year-long tally?
Yeah, I think we do. I think it'd be good.
All right. Sounds good.
All right, we'll get that going next time. We'll just add that to the stream.
Just the win counter.
Very good. All right, so there was another large stream that was on the weekend. We will just briefly mention this. We spoke about Alchemy last week and sort of leading into the Neon Dynasty Championship, and it would be remiss of us to not mention it at all. But there was the Neon Dynasty Championship. It was played on the weekend. I watched a little bit of the coverage. I'm not sure if either of you two got to watch it, but it was good.
I caught a little bit.
I caught random games here and there, maybe 3 games out of the whole coverage.
Yep. Yeah, it was, usual good quality Wizards coverage, high quality gameplay. From what I've been hearing from people were very happy with how exciting the formats were. Being Alchemy and Historic, but I think, to be honest, if you substituted Alchemy for Standard, you'd probably still have people saying, it was really good games and really diverse meta and all that sort of stuff. So I don't know if that's really a ringing endorsement for the Alchemy format, but yeah, it was pretty good. Good. These are the equivalents of the Pro Tours that we used to have. And we've crowned the Neon Dynasty champion in Ely Cassis, who is someone that Chewy's been a fan of from the KCI days.
As I was saying pre-cast, if you've played KCI, you're automatically a good human being. So Ely gets my vote.
Yeah. So there was some pretty diverse, a pretty diverse metagame. I think Mono White ended up being the top played deck in Alchemy, which was hard targeting the Runes deck, which was the second most represented deck, and that deck had an absolutely abysmal weekend, like a 30% win rate with not just the Mono White decks, but a lot of decks just playing main deck Archon of Amurias and things like that just completely sort of shut down the and Thalias that shut down the Runes deck. So not surprising that had a really poor weekend, but
with the expected win rate from whatever source you guys got that from.
No idea where that came from.
We were laughing so hard at that.
Yeah.
I know. But I feel like, the SpongeBob meme with every second letter capitalized, 86% win rate. Yeah. That's kind of warranted for whoever came up with those numbers.
Yeah. So Ely Cassis was running Orzhov Venture in Alchemy, which was not a deck that was on anyone's radar, and this is kind of what we said Wizards should do with their Alchemy changes. They pumped up the venture mechanic and made it to a point where it was actually pretty good. His deck was, in reality, more just like an Orzhov, like mid-range deck, and just happened to have, I think there was like 12 venture cards in total that were just sort of a little bit of extra value. So I don't know if it's really
that's a fair
hard
bit though. Like, you've been called like Gruul with like 2 green cards in your deck before, so
yeah.
It's definitely leaning into
Wizards
it.
are going to take.
I've played Affinity with no cards with Affinity for artifacts.
Yeah,
in my deck
yeah, that's
before,
true.
So, you know.
Yeah.
The deck's been called Affinity forever.
It's just mono artifacts.
Yeah. But yeah, obviously Wizards are going to take that and run with it and
They'll see
use that
a
as
success,
ammunition
right?
of the success of Alchemy.
I mean, he definitely did venture a lot though. Like,
He did, yes.
he even went through like all of the big ones and stuff a couple of times as well. So he was definitely, leveraging the mechanic, which is cool because that was what we all thought should happen. Take something that was close and standard and then just pump it up to make it good. Why not?
Yep. So yeah, Orzhov Venture in Alchemy and Is It Phoenix in Historic. Shout out to Jim Davis, who...
Yeah, what a run.
So it has it on his record that he went 15-0, but it's not actually technically right. I think he went 12-0, and then the last 3 rounds he doesn't have to play because I think with the way that these tournaments are set up, once you hit 12 wins, you're like auto-qualified for top 8. So either way, he went undefeated. He got 12 wins with no losses. And then the top 8 was double elimination, and unfortunately he just got knocked straight out. He played against Ili Kassis in the first round and lost, and then played against Johnny Gutman in the lower bracket and lost. So bit of a disappointment there. It would have been the fairy tale story, but...
It would have been, but it's funny. Magic's a funny game though, right? Like you can go 12-0 in the hardest field imaginable and still walk away disappointed.
Yeah.
It's like there's some test cricket happening in Pakistan at the moment and someone got out for 196 and they were devastated. If somebody told me I was going to make 196 runs in a season, I'd be stoked.
Yep.
Crazy.
It's good to see Jim Davis doing well though. He's been an SCG grinder for a long time and hasn't really had kind of that top finish at this level of event, even though he's very capable of doing so. So it was nice to see him just kind of crush.
Yeah. I think he's a full-time streamer now too, like a full-time content producer. So yeah, good on him. I did hear Ili Kassis was on the midweek metagame podcast this week with Gab Nassif. He works a full-time job. He's a psychotherapist or something along those lines, and works full-time job. Has a couple of kids and all that sort of stuff, and finds the time to play Magic and do well. So
we're bad.
We're not Ili Kassis.
Yeah.
So shout out to him. The other sort of kick in the guts for Jim Davis is the top 6 from this tournament all qualify for Worlds. So all you had to do was win one match in the top 8 bracket, and you were qualified for Worlds. And unfortunately, Jim Davis and Brent Voss knocked out, and they're the 2 that miss out on the Worlds invite. So bit of disappointment there. But,
Savage.
Anyway, so that is the Neon Dynasty Championship. That was on this weekend. And just after that we had a State of the Game announcement article. So a couple little things in there. Cracker, do you want to sort of take through, we're not going to spend a ton of time on it, but do you want to take us through what we got in there?
Yeah, absolutely. So the first thing that they talk about, and we'll just talk about this briefly, is there's going to be a discussion on the economy for Arena. So we're expecting to see that like tomorrow morning our time. It's
probably be out by the time you listen to this podcast.
Yeah. And man, I don't know. I'll read the thing. It says, "We know this has been a hot topic amongst our players, especially since the release of Alchemy. We wanted to acknowledge some of the feedback we've received and give some insight on our design philosophies and intentions, as well as open it up for a live Q&A."
Oh.
Yeah, so like I said before...
I hope the person monitoring the questions is wearing a helmet.
Yeah.
It's going to be a rough
one. The thing with this
one.
is it doesn't say that they're introducing changes. They're just going to have a discussion around why they're making stupid decisions. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because if we don't have a predatory economy, our shareholders won't make $1 billion in profit, and we can't keep just squeezing you guys for everything.
So
the end?
I guess we'll see. It'll be interesting. I probably won't catch it in the morning, but I'll definitely go back and watch it.
Yeah, they've said there will be an article that accompanies it as well. But yeah, they announced this. I want to see the
questions.
Yeah,
I don't care. I want to see how they actually they answer what's going on.
Yeah, go back watch that later.
Yeah,
but yeah, they did the old announcement of an announcement thing and told us a week ago that this was coming up. And everyone went, "Oh, sweet! There's a thing." There's an announcement coming up about the arena economy, and straight away, like we were, actually you weren't there on the weekend, I think, but we're talking about it with some of the guys on the weekend. It's like, okay, surely they're going to announce something about, letting you convert wild cards, convert 4 common wild cards to an uncommon, and then 4 uncommons to a rare, and things along those lines, or some sort of changes, or getting rid of the rarity in Alchemy cards, something along those lines. And then this comes out and it's like, oh no, this is just a discussion about why our game's so expensive. So there's going to be a lot of disappointed people after this, I think.
I hope we're wrong. I don't think we are, hope so too. But I hope we're wrong.
Like, if we're not wrong, then people are going to be pretty flat, right?
Then what, though? Like, the problem is that you can go, well, that sucks. And then you launch Arena.
You keep playing.
Look at your quests and you play anyway. So it's hard. Like, I'm not playing Alchemy, but they still get the engagement.
Nobody's playing Alchemy.
That's true. That's true.
I'd love to see the numbers. Over, the numbers will probably just drop right off.
I tell you what I thought was really interesting about that, though, is they're literally midway through an Alchemy tournament, and they're like, by the way, here's the new cards for Alchemy that you can't play with for this tournament, but they're coming in next week.
Yep.
They've been so
and don't bother getting
bad.
these deck lists because they're going to be useless.
Yep, yeah, exactly.
For the last couple of years, the schedule has been so messed up.
It has been atrocious.
It's a classic right hand, left hand, not knowing what each other are doing, right? So it's just sorted out, Wizards. Absolutely, just release cycles are a thing, right? Yeah. You should know what's coming in the pipeline. Yeah, we've got it for physical Magic cards. Apply the exact same structure, albeit condensed, for the digital format. So tournament organizers at Wizards can schedule stuff around the releases and use it to wait for it, use high level play to promote your new product. Wow.
Don't be stupid, Chewy. That's the most ridiculous idea ever.
So the thing that they are doing, talking about promoting with high level play,
trying to catch up on all my whinging that I missed out on not being last week.
Is Chewy is actually going to be talking tomorrow. So Chewy,
I think that's
tomorrow?
in a couple of weeks. I think they announced that's coming up too. I think it's the end of March. There's going to be an organised play announcement.
I thought they were doing it at the same time. Never mind. My bad. That'll be interesting to see what comes out of that one.
Yeah, I've got faith in Huey. I do.
I don't.
I reckon.
I've got faith in Huey.
I reckon
he answers to people that are well above him. So
yeah, but he can influence, though, right? He can influence,
just like Cracker.
Yeah, no, exactly. So
he's actually good.
On the scale of influences, there's like Kim Kardashian, Cracker, Huey, right? So
yeah.
Yeah,
I don't understand why they can't release.
You're the Kim Kardashian of Magic, Cracker.
Whoa! Ouch! Oh, that may be the most hurtful thing you've ever said to me.
Why can't they release the Alchemy set with the standard set? Why does there need to be a delay between the standard release and the Alchemy release? Like, it's just ruining your
just screams
format.
Resources to me, because it's the same team coding.
But it's 30 extra cards. It's not like it's, an entire extra set. And it's like, oh boy, we've just finished coding that set. Now we're going to do an entire another set. It's 30 cards. Like,
I mean, the sets are 2 years out. Like, they should be coding sets in Arena today that we're not going to see for a year and a half.
Or at least 6 months. Like, there should be plenty of time. But
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So anyway. I don't get that. And then, like you said, like using high-level play to promote your sets. Go back to the old PT structure where it was
2 weeks after.
Releases, 2 weeks later, Pro Tour. And everyone was hyped for it because it's like, okay, well, I'm going to buy my cards, I'm going to buy some boxes, I'm going to crack some packs, and then I'm going to watch the PT because I want to see what's getting played. And even like finance people would be watching the PT because it's like, I want to watch the PT and try and figure out what's the top deck so I can buy those cards before prices spike and all this sort of stuff. Like, there was just so much excitement and hype and involvement.
And then,
And
then you'd have a GP the week after, and then you'd see what came out of it. And you'd go, okay,
this was the top deck at the PT. Okay, what's the deck that beats that? And then you would get that cycle through the format and changes and evolutions, and then that goes on for a few months. And as long as the format isn't just completely broken and it turns out there's only one deck that's good, then you end up with that evolution for a few months, and then a new set comes out, and then you get that same thing and that same hype for the new set. Oh, what changes is that going to make? And they've just completely removed all of that from like the structure. Like I think their numbers on this stream capped out at like 10,000, where we used to regularly get like 40,000 viewers on the stream for the old PTs. But yeah, anyway,
this one was up on the last couple. Is worth mentioning.
Yeah. Yes.
I mean, that's like that's the thing. So it's not all down, just mostly.
Anyway, as good as it could be.
They gave us some new cards. Let's go with. There's a new mechanic that they unveiled as part of the new Alchemy cards, and this one is called Intensity. So Intensity is a card designation that starts at a certain value and will perpetually change based on the card's rules text. For example, attacking or tapping a card. So one of the examples they've given here is Bellows Breath Ogre. It's a 3-mana 3/3, and it says starting intensity 1. Whenever it attacks, it deals damage equal to its intensity to any target, then perpetually increase its intensity by 1. So they're leaning. I don't mind the fact that they're actually leaning into this digital only space. I think that if you're going to do these cards where they only exist in Alchemy and Historic, which are digital only, then let's do these things where it doesn't matter if it's shuffled back into your graveyard or bounced back to your hand or into your wherever it goes.
There's some design space that only works in the digital client, and they're exploring it. I think that's great.
No, it's cool. So I think this is interesting. I don't know if these cards are any good or not, but that's neither here nor there. But I like
3-mana 3/3 that shoots stuff when it attacks seems fine.
It doesn't have haste. Yeah, that's a big issue. My issue with this, you could very easily do this in paper. The reason you can't do it in paper is because it's perpetually increasing its intensity by 1. So
you just put a counter on it.
Yeah, you just do a counter. But so my issue with this is like thematically, it's like, okay, this is a fire-breathing ogre, and as he attacks and he gets angrier, he's dealing more and more and more and more damage. Yep, cool, get it, thematic, awesome, very good. You could easily do that just with counters. The issue, because they've made it perpetual, if it dies, goes to graveyard, and then you bring it back from your graveyard and recast it, or you reanimate it or something, it comes back and it's already super intense. And that just is a massive flavor fail.
So if I Fading Hope this back to your hand and you cast it again, it's still got
the intensity.
I don't know.
Stuff.
They're pretty mad
just
about that.
Doesn't make much sense.
There's a card called Skullbriar, which is an old Commander card. It's from like the second Commander set. And it actually has a similar kind of thing. So whenever it deals damage to a player, you put a +1/+1 counter on it. And counters remain on Skullbriar as it moves to any other zone other than the player's hand or library. So they've already got this in play. So if a Skullbriar dies...
on a physical Magic card.
Correct. This came out in Commander set in like whenever it was 2011 or something.
Shout out like Cracker going back into the archives.
I remember this card being really good.
The Oracle over there.
So it feels really close. Obviously this is different because Skullbriar was like in a Golgari deck where you'd sacrifice it and, bring it back a bunch of times and the counters didn't go away. So that was a really cool effect. But you still had to track it in a different zone.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's definitely doable.
I guess the difference is that there you've got it in a singular location where it's visible all the time. Whereas if you've got 3 Bellows Breath Ogres in your hand, which one's got which intensity?
Yeah, it's definitely much easier.
Commander being a singleton format.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, there's definitely some challenges that you're working with there why it doesn't translate, but it's close.
Yeah, maybe it was the inspiration for this mechanic, perhaps.
Yeah.
So also in this announcement is something that I think a lot of us have been waiting to hear or get an update on, and this looks like actually a good use of the development team's time. And Shorty, you've had some issues with this where you jumped on Arena on your phone, won a bunch of matches, and then realized at some point after winning a few matches that you weren't actually playing ranked. And that's because of the terrible update to the interface with the, what do they call it? The Blade?
Yeah.
Play Blade. Which sounds like Beyblade, which is completely confusing because that's a whole nother thing. But it looks like they're kind of fixing it, maybe? Question mark?
Sort of. I mean, they've got some pictures there, but the pictures don't actually really show much.
Looks the same to me, I've got to tell you.
Yeah, like the issue that I had with it is you go to, I think it's like a table symbol, and then you can select like ranked or not ranked, but it doesn't really like label ranked and unranked. It's like one of them has a picture of like the rank symbol, like the, you know, for me it's bronze or whatever. I don't know if for other people it's other colours other than bronze. I never get to see those. But yeah, like I had like literally this week I played 3 matches or 3 games, won all 3, and then went, oh, hang on. When these matches ended, I didn't see my like rank increase. Oh, geezer, I'm not playing on ranked. Went into the thing and did what I thought was ranked so that I could then play a ranked match, and then hit play, won the game, and it didn't go up again. I went, what the hell? Went back and looked, like, oh no, that's not, that bit over there is ranked. And it just is super frustrating. I mean, it makes almost no difference in the grand scheme of things, and it's my own stupid fault for not looking at it, but it just goes to show that it is just a poor interface. So
it's just unintuitive, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's just, and it's an issue that they've had for ages. There is just so many different play queues that you can go in. Like looking at that screenshot, it's like 1, 2, 3 there's like 12 different event
that we can see.
Things.
Plus you can scroll down.
Plus you can scroll down. It looks like there's at least another couple of rows. And for a new player, like I know when you're a new player on Arena, the play queues are limited. Like you have to like turn it on to show the advanced play queues, and so it limits you to just a couple of options. But how the hell do you know what you're meant to be playing? I've got no idea. It's pretty crazy. So anyway, we'll see.
I worked out which was best of 1 ranked, and then I just kept going to the little star and clicking play. It just kept putting me in with the same
like
deck.
that's what I was doing too, but it resets sometimes.
Oh,
and
really?
So that's where I made the mistake the first time. I was just going recently played.
Okay.
And it had the deck that I'd been recently playing. It just didn't say ranked standard. It just had a picture of the deck sort of thing. And so I just, that's what I was playing yesterday. Cool, hit play. And yeah, turns out I was no longer in ranked. I was just in the normal play queue, and I was wondering why I was playing against some weird decks. But
no wonder you're winning. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly right.
But like any update, any improvement to that is going to be a good thing, right? Because it's obviously a bit terrible, and if it's less terrible, then that's an improvement.
Yeah. And the other part on this announcement is we're getting spectator... no, we're not. We're never getting that.
We're getting dusting.
No. Yeah.
No, we're not getting that.
All right, let's see what we get tomorrow, and we'll post as soon as we see the announcement, we'll post it in Discord somewhere, and you can read along and check out what they say about why the economy is the way it is.
Yeah, because they want more money. That's the answer.
The end. Yeah.
Done. That's
1 billion isn't enough.
Stream starts, counts down, stream starting soon, comes on, someone goes, okay, economy's the way it is because we just want to make more money, and that's it. Catch you later. Bye.
To watch the rest of this stream, that'll cost you 4 rare wildcards. Yeah.
Wildcards are probably worth about as much as fuel's worth these days. It's
extremely rare commodity.
Okay, so that's it. We'll see what comes out, and then I imagine we'll probably talk about it on the podcast next week, and then hopefully the organised play announcement in a few weeks outlines some sort of structure. I was talking to Chris and Stu on the weekend, and we were just crossing our fingers and hoping that there will be some sort of a structure that will lead to an announcement that in October, November or something this year, there's a Grand Prix in Melbourne or Sydney or Brisbane or something, so we can dedicate a weekend to go and play some Magic.
Did you say October, November next year?
This year.
Yeah,
we want it this year.
Oh yeah, good luck.
No, it's not going to happen. But anyway, we'll see. Okay, so that's enough of that. Enough of the whinging and complaining. We thought, let's do something a little bit different tonight and talk about a format that we don't talk about all that often, even though we do play quite a bit of it, and that is Commander. So we're going to have a bit of a chat about our sort of main decks and sort of have a bit of a run through those and tell you guys what we're playing and why we like those decks and that sort of thing. So strap in for some hardcore casual Magic in Commander. So Chewy, I think you're going to kick us off.
Yeah, I thought, given that the last couple of weeks we've had a lot of focus on, the more competitive side of things with the data episode that Cracker and I did, and then the focus on the Set Championship this past weekend. All of the spikes are kind of being catered for, but we haven't had the opportunity to really talk about, some of the more fun multiplayer interactive things that we like to do in the Magic space. And, obviously I'm talking about Commander. So I was sitting in a meeting today at work doing what I do in gold fishing a Commander deck because I need to be doing something with my hands because I'm a fidget and I'm either biting my fingernails or cracking my knuckles. So it's much better to sit there and shuffle a deck and goldfish it. But anyway, that's where this kind of came about. And I thought we would just, as Shorty said, have a little bit of a Commander focus, talk about our inspiration for the decks, either in building it or, what drew us to purchasing the deck. Talk about some card choices if we've built the deck from scratch or upgraded things, why we find that particular deck fun, like what aspect or axis of that deck, most appeals to us. And then if we've got any plans to improve it, or I guess if there's a wish list of, if money was no object, I'd love to add this card or cards to the deck. So the deck that I was goldfishing today was my Shrines deck, which is a 5-color deck, which I built as a bit of a meme, back in the day, a couple of years ago now, because I was sorting my Magic collection, found a bunch of the original Kamigawa cards, and I had a number of the Shrines. So I thought, this will be a sweet Commander deck. So I went, 5 colors, Golos, every enchantment that I had in my collection, a bunch of dual lands, away we go. And the deck was kind of really fun and a bit of a meme at the time. And then a new set comes out that's got a whole bunch of new Shrines. So I built that, and all of a sudden, I had 11 Shrines instead of 10. So the deck kind of powered up a little bit. So I was pretty excited by that. And what really drew me to that as a strategy was, nobody in our play group had an enchantment focused deck. There was the nostalgia of Shrines. There was the puzzle that I really enjoy solving. That is the 5-color mana base. What lands do I play? What land do I fetch? How do I get, Wooburg early and things like that. So, I enjoyed that from a deck building perspective. There was also, some cards that I had in my collection that didn't really have a home that I like, either from a nostalgia perspective or just it's a cool card, and it was an opportunity to play some of those. So I went with that. And then Golos got banned, and I, went looking for another 5-color Commander, and Asika filled the void. And then very recently, Go Shintai of Life's Origin also happens to be a Shrine and gets my stuff back. So just seemed like a better option. So my Commander is the legendary enchantment creature Shrine. It's a 4-mana 3/4, 3 and a green for a 3/4. It has an activated ability of Wooburg, tap, return target enchantment card from your graveyard to the battlefield. And then when this or another non-token shrine enters the battlefield under my control, create a 1/1 colorless shrine creature token. So all of the shrines care about having shrines in play, and this creates shrine creatures which count that. So shrine's not a creature type, but it does count for the life gain of cleansing fire, or the mana that you get off the green shrine and things like that. So it's pretty cool. And what I love about the deck is it's just kind of this snowbally, just constantly evolves in power as it goes along, and it plays all of the enchantresses. So Eidolon of Blossoms and Misa Enchantress, Sithis draws a lot of cards, and, get shrines. You get all of the benefits from shrines. I'm not playing the shrines out of the newest Kamigawa set either. Like, I think they're a bit underpowered being creatures. They're a bit easy to be killed. But yeah, it's playing all of the Hondens and all of the shrines, the sanctums, effectively. And I set up a wall with things like propaganda and sphere of safety, so people can't attack me, which lets me kind of just sit there and do my thing, and then I eventually go off. It's got some combo sort of elements because Omniscience is an enchantment, and you can just go and get that and then play all of your spells, and with Misa Enchantress and friends, you just draw all the cards, and you can eventually just win with your shrines, or particularly the red shrine that lets you discard a land to deal damage equal to shrines to opponents. So you can just like end the game if you're left, unmolested, I guess. So yeah, that's really what draws me to it. You get to do like big, powerful things, and you get to draw a lot of cards and have lots and lots of permanents in play. So that's very, very fun. Plans to improve it. Cards like Replenish, if I could ever justify spending money on cards like Replenish, and which lets you get cards back from your graveyard. So I've got the Modern Horizons one with Suspend, but yeah, I'd be looking to upgrade that to an actual Replenish because people like to play things like Destroy All Creatures. So cards I'm really scared of is what's the new 6-mana sorcery that exiles all the things?
Farewell,
yeah. That's a pretty good card against me. So yeah, I'd like it if you didn't play that. Please and thank you.
It's white. You're fine. I'm not going to play it.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah,
spoilers. Both Cracker and I's decks are both Is It.
Yeah, exactly. Surprise. But yeah, so I guess I'm playing white in a sense. So it's a bit of a shock when I plugged the deck into this website and it told me how much it was worth because of all my dual lands. Yeah, but
don't tell Jen.
Well, yeah, that's that is our new kitchen.
I was going to say that's your kitchen, right?
Yeah, exactly. So it's but yeah, it's super fun. It's really fun to play. I have an amazing set of mates who for my
who are they?
Birthday last year, which was my 40th, all pitched in and got me a Sarah's Sanctum. So it taps for white for every enchantment I control, so it's pretty busted. So yeah, it's pretty good. I miss fetching that with Golos, but I have to kind of draw it naturally nowadays. But it's pretty gas. So I love this deck. It's really fun to play. It's not CEDH level like combo ridiculousness, but it is quite powerful, and it's a blast. It's really good. I love it.
Yeah, you've definitely, like, I've played against you playing this a few times, and sometimes it just completely goes off, and you're just like chaining spell after spell after spell, and drawing more cards and creating,
just making like armies of angels and things like that.
Yeah, angels, a million angels, and
so good,
various other tokens, and yeah,
and it's like you couldn't even attack me because of the ghostly prison.
Yeah,
so good.
And you just have no chance. Like, do I have a board wipe? Nope. Okay, well, yeah, I'm just dead. But you've drawn through like 2/3 of your deck.
Yeah, it's so good. It's so good.
Yeah, very cool deck, and certainly gets out of hand pretty quick if it's not shut down. And yeah, I imagine a card like Farewell is not good, but there's not too much other mass enchantment removal.
There's another 6-mana command.
Austere Command.
Austere Command. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Old school white one.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a beating as well.
Yep.
But I look forward to playing this deck on stream with our paper setup.
Yeah, absolutely.
So. Yeah. And we'll zoom out the camera so you've got enough play mat to fit all your permanents.
Pretty tight with all your permanent placement.
Yeah, so I mean, I can have a lot of permanents in play, but your deck's capable of putting many, many permanents in play. They probably don't need to be around for quite as long as mine to have an effect, right?
Usually it's I've made all these permanents and you guys are all dead.
That's my aim.
Yeah. So tell us about your deck.
I'm playing the Locust God. Here's my jam. Locust God is a 6-mana creature from... What set was that? Hour of Devastation. I think that was that he came out.
Correct.
And it says, whenever you draw a card, create a 1/1 blue and red flying insect creature token with flying and haste. And one of the sweet pieces of text on the Locust God is, when it dies, return it to its owner's hand at the beginning of the next end step. So you can kind of dodge command attacks a lot of the time, which is good when your commander costs 6, because, it's not the cheapest thing in the world, and you want it to not cost 8 and then 10. So unless it gets exiled, you can just keep picking it up and casting it again next turn, which is pretty nice. But yeah, the aim of this deck is just get the Locust God in play and then draw all the cards and kill everyone with little flying 1/1s.
The fact that they have haste is just ridiculous.
Fantastic. It's just
if they didn't
so
have
good.
haste, it's like, okay, yep, you can do some powerful stuff, you can make a million dudes, but they don't have haste, so it's okay. Either you got to find another way to give them haste or whatever. But the fact that they just come with haste, it's like, oh, you got to be kidding!
Yeah, it's pretty.
Especially if he's got a coat, you can go turn 5 coat of arms, turn 6 Locust God, and things like that. So they get pretty big.
There's the deck is it's not optimized by any stretch, but it's a lot of fun. I love playing it. So it's got a grand total of 8 creatures. 9 if you count the Locust God, and then just lots of instants and sorceries, and actually a lot of artifacts too. So it's trying to. There's actually a couple of. They're not infinite combos because you're relying on you drawing a deck. So you do run out of cards eventually, but you can, like with Ashnod's Altar and Skullclamp in play, you can draw your whole deck, and then you have enough mana to do whatever you need to do. Usually, as Chewy said, it's like play a coat of arms, which gives +1/+1 to each creature that matches a creature type of it's on the battlefield. So each of your insects becomes like 30/30s or 50/50s pretty quickly. So yeah, that's what
I love is the Wheel of Fortune Narset Parter Veils. It's like, I'm not even mad. I'm not even mad.
I've still never done that. I've never managed to get the combo together. But I do.
You also never got to play Hull Breacher either, did you?
That's true. I did.
You got one of them, and then
I did. And my wife gave me for a pack, like for my birthday. When was it? Like last year, before it got banned. It was like, here's one random Commander Legends pack, and there was a Hull Breaker in it. I was like, this is fantastic. A Hull Breacher. This is fantastic. I was so excited. And then we were like in the middle of COVID, and we just never got to play Commander in person. And it was banned before I got to sleeve it up. It was literally just sitting in my deck box.
That's rough, man.
Unlucky. No, that's fine. That's fine. The
but you
card
have
is very
cast.
stupid.
So, for those who don't know, Cracker was building this deck, and I'm like, oh, sweet, that deck's really good. Have you got a Wheel of Fortune? And Cracker's like, no, I'm not paying $400 for a card.
Well, they were 100 when we talked about that.
100 at the time.
Yeah, it was like 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah, and I was like, no way. So this is how old I am. I paid $8 for my Wheel of Fortune, and I went, I'll just lend it to you because I'm not using it. You can use it for your deck. It'll be sweet. And I'll be glad to, the card's getting played. And I went hunting for my Wheel of Fortune. I went through my rares folder, couldn't find it. Went through my rares box, couldn't find it. Went through my unsorted red cards, couldn't find it. Went to my box of red commons, and because it was whiteboarded, I assumed it was some janky common, and sitting amongst whatever random goblin piker cards is a Wheel of Fortune unsleeved. So luckily it was still in good nick, and Cracker's been getting good use out of it, and we've all been having fun drawing 7 with it. So
it is. It's a lot of fun. Everyone loves it when I say, we all like drawing cards, right? Everyone's just like, oh, but my hand's really good. I'm like, yep, well, here's some new ones. So, the deck is pretty, look, it's pretty consistent. It's pretty mana hungry. There's a lot that you could do to optimize it. I am playing Niv-Mizzet Perun, so you can play Curiosity if you wanted to go down that path. I mean, you can just build Niv-Mizzet as a full CEDH deck. It's also got Sage of the Falls, which combos with the Locust God, which I think we talked about for Historic last week.
Yeah.
When we're chatting about that. So you can just, Sage of the Falls enters the battlefield, it triggers, and then it makes the insect, which triggers again, so you draw a card, and blah, blah, blah. You just draw out as many as you want to. There's a couple of other, just straight up jank combos that I would like to assemble one day, Isochron Scepter with Dramatic Reversal and some mana rocks to just create effectively Infinite Storm, and then I've got an Aether Flux Reservoir. It's not good. Like, if you wanted to make this deck better, you would just cut those things from it, but it just seems like a lot of fun to try and do. And then you've got Impact Tremors as well, which will just ping everyone down really quickly. So
it's an alternate way to win if you can't attack people for whatever reason.
Correct. Yeah. So
and I think this is built right in my mind. And like, you're talking about some optimizations and things, and you know, you can get a volcanic island or whatever.
Yeah, correct.
But the Sage of the Falls Locust God combo, it's a 5 mana and a 6 mana creature that goes infinite. So it's easy to interact with in that sense because they're creatures, but it does end the game. And sometimes people are worried about in Commander being like toxic because you played an infinite combo, but sometimes the game just needs to end. Yeah. So
I agree.
Doing it in this way is a fun way to end the game for you, but it's a way that your opponents can still interact with, and you're not doing it on turn 3. You're doing it on turn 6 or 7, right? So you at least get to play a game. So I condone this course of action. I think it's good.
Yeah, I have a blast. And look, it's playing quite a bit of interaction as well. There's a number of counter spells and bounce spells and, you know, surprisingly, a number of ways to turn things into 3/3s. Blue's pretty good at that. So, yeah, got a ways to interact with the board too. So you're not just trying to turbo things out. It's good. I love it. And I just get to draw cards.
Didn't know that about you. What about you, Shorty?
I play Jace.
So yeah, my commander deck is a commander deck of choice is also an Izzet deck, and this is the deck that I'm not allowed to play very often.
Yeah,
but this is one of the pre-cons from 2015, I think it was. So it's Mizzix of the Is Magnus. This is Mizzix, whatever. Who is 2 blue-red for a 2/2 Goblin Wizard, and has, whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell with converted mana cost, or mana value, greater than the number of experience counters you have, you get an experience counter. And then it has instant and sorcery spells you cast cost 1 less to cast for each experience counter you have. So basically, you get this guy on the field, you cast a few instants and sorceries, you build up a few experience counters. Usually, you will then have your Mizzix get killed, and then at some point you bring it back and you get a 2 or 3 mana discount on a few of your spells, and sort of away you go. So yeah, this was a pre-con from like 7 years ago now. That's a long time.
Wow.
But I bought this pre-con because it was blue and red, and you guys were all sort of getting into Commander. I've said many, many times on this podcast that I cannot build Commander decks from scratch. My brain there's just too many cards available in the Commander format, I think, and that's the issue.
That's what makes it fun. You get to explore them and try them. And
you get
to spend hours on Scryfall trying to find the right card or a better version of a card. It's a project.
I'm sure people like yourself love that, but I just can't. I just can't dedicate the mental bandwidth to trying to come up with my own deck from scratch.
Insomnia, Shorty. I recommend Insomnia.
Yeah, no, I definitely
most
do
of
not
my research is done after 2 a.m.
when I am fast asleep, and thankful for that. So, yeah, so I thought I'll buy a pre-con, and then if I want, I can sort of tinker with it from there. And this deck looked pretty cool. It was a blue-red spells deck, and thought, yeah, I'll give this a go. And so played just sort of the stock version for a while, and it was reasonable. It wasn't doing anything crazy broken. It was just sort of using the discount to like have cheaper card draw spells and things like that. Like there was no sort of broken combos in there or anything. But I jumped onto EDH Rec and looked at lists with Mizzix as the commander, and just sort of got a bit of an idea of what other people were doing with the list. And I probably spent maybe $50, like not much. Like my deck, the Card Kingdom price for my deck is $372 to $394. Like it's pretty cheap. There's nothing expensive
not
here.
Much more than that.
No, not much. Just add an extra 0 and times it by a couple.
I'm playing dual lands, OG dual lands.
Yeah. I don't even have a Scalding Tarn in here or anything like that. I think like my most expensive card is like a Cyclonic Rift. So there's nothing expensive in here. But yeah, probably spent. I already had a few cards, chucked them in, and yeah, maybe spent like $50 and just put in a few upgrades for it, and sort of changed what the deck was doing. And now this deck's like the reason why people don't like playing against it is very much this deck is I just kind of do not much for the first 3 or 4 turns, draw a few cards, maybe counter a spell here or there, maybe wipe the board, something like that. And then I pass the turn, and then I spend the next 3 people's turns furiously doing math, writing things on a piece of paper, and then it gets back to my turn, and I say, okay, I'm going to do this, and this. Does anyone have any way to stop me? No? Okay, you're all dead. And that's not very enjoyable for your opponents, as it turns out. But I certainly enjoyed it. It's good fun. So the way I'm sort of doing that, the deck has, it's got a bunch of your usual card draws, your brainstorms, a few counters in Cryptic Command, and like Insidious Will, and there's what's the other one? Mystic Confluence, those sorts of things. So a few of those sorts of things to have a little bit of control or sort of keep your Mystics alive. You've got the standard Swiftfoot Boots and Lightning Greaves and all that. And then, it's just sort of a few board wipes. So we've got like Blasphemous Act, which deals 13 to each creature, which is a good way to wipe the board. Misium Mortars, which deals 4 damage.
Standard All-Star back in the day.
Yeah, yep. So another board wipe. Storm's Wrath is sort of similar. Magma Quake's another way to sort of wipe the board. And then good old Cyclonic Rift just to sort of reset everything when you overload that and just return all non-land permanents that I don't control to my owner's hand is always good fun.
All my poor enchantments.
Yeah, it's a staple I think in most blue commander decks. And it's the reason why it's worth a little bit of money. So I just sort of spend the first few turns doing that sort of stuff, pondering, preordaining, that sort of thing. And then, a couple of tutors, like mystical tutors. I've got like the Spellseeker creature from, what was that set? Can't remember what that set was.
Conspiracy or something?
Yeah. No, Battle Bond.
Battle Bond, that's what I'm thinking of. Yep. A couple other different tutors. And then, a few discounts. I've got 7 creatures in the deck, plus the Mizzix, so 8 creatures. I've got Baral, Goblin Electromancer for a bit of discount on my spells, Gutter Snipes for a little bit of ping damage here and there for the spells I'm casting. I've got a Niv Mizzet as well, just because I'm sort of drawing a few cards and whatever, and it's a good creature. And then Talrand, the Sky Summoner, it's been around for a while. It's the 4-mana 2/2 that whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, you create a 2/2 Drake with flying. So that can, if that goes unchecked on a board, can create sort of a bit of a presence on its own. But what I'm sort of trying to get to is my win conditions, which is basically a bunch of different copy spells that copy the next instant or sorcery that I'm going to cast, and then a few ways to generate just a ton of mana. So Mana Geyser, however you want to say that one. I always like to say Mana Geyser. Yep. 3 red for sorcery. Add red for each tapped land your opponents control. I don't know if you guys have played Commander before, but generally most people tap out every single turn. So when you've got 3 opponents, that's a decent amount of mana that generally gets added when you're doing this. And then we've got like what's it called? Mizzix Mastery. When you overload that, it exiles all the cards in all the instants and sorceries in your graveyard, and then you get to copy them all for free. We've seen that one in Historic. That's pretty strong. So cast a few spells. We've got some Seething Songs, that sort of thing. Generate a bit of mana. Play your Mana Geyser. Generate a bunch more mana. Overload your Mizzix Mastery, recast everything you've just cast again, copy things a few times, all that sort of stuff. Basically just generate a ton of mana, and then you win with cards like Comet Storm. So Comet Storm is X red, and it's got choose any target, then choose another target for each time this spell was kicked. It's got kicker for a single generic mana, and it deals X damage to each of them. So you can, generate 60 mana, no worries, and just do, like 55 or whatever it is to each opponent with kicking it a few times. Expansion Explosion is another sort of similar thing that you can cast that and then copy it and things like that to deal some damage to your opponents. And what's the other one? Fall of Titans is the other one that's sort of similar. Deals X damage to each of up to 2 target creatures and or players. So, if there's only 2 players left, you can just finish those 2 off, or copy it and finish the other person off. So
you can also go old school and just stroke them out as well with Stroke of Genius.
Yeah, yep, yeah, like mill them out. Yeah, Stroke of Genius is X 2 blue for an instant. Target player draws X cards, so you can target someone and make them draw out their entire library if that's how you want to do it. If you can't kill with damage, so it's a one turn win.
Yeah, it's kind of like Storm, except without using the Storm mechanic. You kind of just building to that point where you have like one massive turn and just...
Yes, it is just one huge turn, and that's where the math comes into
like, it. You usually die pretty quickly after that. It's been my experience. If like someone's got the well-placed counter spell or removal, then like that's it. But,
generally I will either be killed in advance because people don't want to deal with me, or they want to deal with me quickly, or I try and do my thing and someone's got a counter and I don't have my counter of my own, or I just win and kill everybody in one turn. So it can be interesting,
right?
Yeah, but it does require a lot of math because you have to, you're spending a few turns sculpting your hand to get to a point where it's like, okay, I can cast this, then this gets this mana, then cast this, then copy this, and then cast these ones back from my graveyard, and then that gets me to a point, and then it's like, okay, now I can sort of do a bit of a loop and cast things a few times, and then that's going to get me enough. And what life is everybody on? Okay, so I need to be able to generate this mana, and I've got enough. And so I'm literally writing it out on a piece of paper sometimes. And hot tip, as I think, Chewy, you've said this plenty of times, when you're playing Commander, work that stuff out in your opponent's turns. Don't do it in your turn.
Oh my goodness, yes. Yes. Don't sit there on your phone or having another conversation, not paying attention to the game, and then it gets to your turn and then go, oh, okay, I'm going to spend 10 minutes figuring it out. Public service announcement. Yeah. So if you were to improve this deck, Shorty, if money was no object and you wanted to make this deck better than it is, where would you start?
I mean, I don't know the cards to add to this deck to massively improve. I've definitely seen over the last... Yeah, that'd be a good start. But I've seen over the last few sets, there are, we've got Galvanic Iteration. That'd be a great card to add to this deck. Expressive Iteration, also another good card to add to this deck. There's been a few similar to Comet Storm type, deals X damage type spells that recently that could be added, and then there's been a few copy spells that could be added recently. They're all super cheap. In terms of expensive stuff, I've got no idea what I would add. Probably just add a... Volcanic Island and put one of my Scalding Tarns in here, and that's about it. I'm sure there's a bunch of other expensive things I could add, but yeah, this is a deck that I don't have built at the moment, and I probably won't build. I may build it and then put it back together and just play one game with it, but yeah, it is not. It's not enjoyable.
An idea of something you could upgrade.
Yep.
Yeah, you could get a black bordered Shivan Reef.
No, I cannot.
This is the deck that started that in-joke, right?
Yes, it is. Yeah, my entire deck. Actually, no, there is one other. I can't remember which spell it is. There's one other common, I think, that is a white bordered card. Actually, I think it's my Seething Song. I think my Seething Song is a
that's
white
even
bordered
worse.
Seething Song.
I have a white bordered forest in Merrin that I fetch on purpose just to tilt Chris.
Yeah.
Great.
But yeah, this deck, it doesn't actually need its commander to go off. Like, the commander is helpful because it gives you those discounts, but you don't actually need it. Usually, if you can survive for a bit in the game, like even if you're on one life, you just kind of get to a point, it's like, okay, now I get my turn, and it doesn't even matter that whether I've got my commander or not. I just tee a bunch of spells together and just go off and kind of like Storm and just win the game. So
you've also got Baral and Electromancer that do a similar thing. They got a bit of redundancy there.
And like sometimes you're just relying on your opponents just bashing each other and everyone's down to 20 life, and it's like, okay, well, I don't actually need as much mana to kill everyone, and you can sort of go off a bit quicker. But when you spend all your time sculpting your hand and then someone casts a wheel, that is extremely frustrating.
It's the best.
It's funny. I've got decks like I've got Muldrotha who loves a wheel.
Yeah,
happy to discard my Golgari Grave Troll and then draw 7, so I get to dredge a bunch. But then many of my other decks not so much. So.
Yeah. So that's my main commander deck. We will put the links for these into the show notes, so you can have a look and copy our lists if you want. If you want to give us some advice for what we should be adding to our decks or changing in our decks, just go and chat about them in the commander channel in the Discord, and we will take your advice and maybe do something with that. But we'll read your comment at least.
We'll definitely read your comments.
But I need to build a new commander deck. I need to find something. I was saying on the weekend, I played Commander with Stu and Cue Ball on the weekend, and I played Stu's Duretti deck. And I decided I think I need to just build a group hug pillow fort deck. Just something just completely different and calming and...
nice.
Let's just
there's some really good options for that. Just make these because Commander doesn't go for long enough already. We're just going to slow it down. As Shorty was just saying, though, if you haven't played Commander before, then the precons are excellent. They are like the best way to get into it. I know that Chewy likes to build from what he's got, but a lot of people don't have 15 years of Magic card collection to draw on. So, like, the Commanders are
don't draw on my collection; they'll wreck the cards.
Just let your kids do it instead. That's a really good way to do it. I did that with Merrin, which is like one of my other favorite decks, and I've changed probably like 40 cards in that. But it started as the precon, and there's a new set of precons coming out soon with New Capenna. There's going to be 5 new 3-color Commander precons, which will be pretty sweet. I'm looking forward to seeing those. I may even look to pick one of them up. But it's always a thing where you can just build stuff, and like I'm building a Esper control list at the moment with Never Neural as the commander, and it's literally just like Esper cards I own. I've got like a Nicol Bolas deck, which is Grixis cards I own. And so like that can be fun too. They're definitely more janky, but if you want to have a really good leg up and an idea of where you can take things from, you can find precons. And then there's always people who are putting up like ideas about how to, improve them on a budget. You can spend like $20 and take it this direction and stuff. So there's always lots of good things you
jump
can do
into the Commander channel on our Discord and sing out for help or
Hemsy will answer you in about
advice.
30 seconds.
Correct.
Yeah, Hemsy is like his ears are pricked up. We haven't even published the episode yet. He doesn't know why, but he's ready.
That's it.
Here's the
Pavlovian response.
People are talking about Commander. Oh.
Yeah, exactly. You feel it in his waters.
He's just rolled over and gone, not the threat.
I love it. Oh, that's great.
Very good.
So, play some Commander. I'm looking forward to playing on stream.
Definitely.
Awesome.
Stay tuned for that.
Yeah,
we'll hopefully do that in the near future. So, that's going to be it for tonight. Last quick reminder, our Kamigawa League, by the time you listen to this podcast, it may already be over, but the group stage ends 10 p.m. Friday the 18th. So we're recording this Thursday evening, so it is in less than 24 hours from right now. So there's not that many matches left to be played. There are still a couple of groups where the top 2 is still in contention. So get those matches done, and then we'll be kicking off the final stage, and then have the coverage for the finals on the 2nd of April, where we'll be in person again. The Beans, we're using some of our new setup that we've got for our paper stream, and we'll be streaming all the coverage and action from the Neon Dynasty League Finals, so keep an eye out for that. So that's it for this week. Usual wrap-up stuff. Yep, come and join us in Discord, as we said. Best place to be to chat to us and chat to all the people in our awesome community and get help, deck advice, all that sort of stuff. There's lots of really cool people in there. Go and check out our merch store. The link is in the show notes. Grab some Magic Beans gear. There's also a link for Josh and Pat's MTG Bazaar, or you can just go to jpmtgbazaar.com.au, join up in the Facebook group and check out the daily auctions. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch and Twitter. All those places we are Magic Beans or Magic Beans Cast. If you want to find me on Twitter, I am at Peace Inc. Chewy, you are?
At Chewy MTG.
And Cracker?
At Joel Hill _.
Very good. So that's it for this week. Thank you as always for listening. Stay safe out there, and we will see you all next time.